All right. So the objective this evening is to talk about planning for 2026, setting out the rules of engagement, things that we're seeing, trends, talk about some cool tools that we have tonight. I did throw this little pony slide in here. Everybody ready for 2026? Are we going to crush it this year? Is the sentiment good? Is it high? Me a hell yeah if we think we're going to crush it.
We're gonna give it a shot.
We're going to give it a shot. Okay. Well, let's see if we can't give it its best shot. Um, I threw this slide in here to mess with you guys, but it's going to come back up in a second. I'll get to why. But before we do that, I just want to go over the fact that I think there's a general connotation that comes with the word webinar and how they're supposed to go. And so I want this to be a little bit different. We're going to try to run it a little bit different. I do have this set up as a regular Zoom meeting as opposed to a webinar. That way people can turn on and off their mics. I want this to be more of a conversation rather than just a monologue. I have a lot of really cool things to show you guys. And this is actually where I'm going to take a beat. I wasn't planning to do this, but I'm going to share it anyways. um, I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous, not because of getting up here and presenting to you guys, but because I think the things that are coming and the things that I have to share are important and could be the difference between being incredibly successful and not. And I want to give you guys every one of those advantages I can. And so I'm nervous, again, not because I'm presenting tonight, but because I want to make sure that I present it in such a way that you can understand it, take it, and use it. It will be considered a win for me this evening that every one of you is able to walk away with a couple of gold nuggets, some pieces of information that help you crush it in 2026. Whether you work with us over here at Elite Results Marketing or not, my objective is I want you to win. I've said this to a lot of people. I don't know how many people believe me or not. You could pay me all the money in the world. If I had all the money in the world tomorrow, I'd still be doing this. I would be working with your industry because I like the people that are in it. I'd be doing marketing because I love the competitive landscape that it is. I'd be doing it with the people that are on my team, a few of which have shown up this evening to participate in the event. And we're just really passionate about how and what we can achieve and do and ensuring that you guys have success. I train the entire team to this idea or concept, ideology, if you will, that we understand that the things we do inside of marketing, managing your blogs, doing ads, whatever, are more than just a task and ultimately have an impact on you and your business. Your ability to put food on the table for your family, your ability to grow your company and provide job opportunities so that they can provide for their families and serve your communities. And I take that very seriously. So again, I don't want this to be a webinar where I just monologue. I want this to be the start of a conversation, not the end of one. I encourage you all to stay until the end because that's where I've placed the goodies with the tools and things that I want to show you guys. And also, we have a very special guest tonight. Joshua Shumway is on here with us with Modern Exit. He's going to be talking to us about how he was able to grow his glass company successfully, how he was able to exit it profitably, and how he's focused on helping others to do the same thing. So whether you're interested in selling your company right now, or you just want to step back and out and have more autonomy in your business, he's your guy for it. And he's going to share some awesome things with us. Again, my hope is that the things we have to share tonight, which are really cool, are helpful to you guys in learning, but some of your key takeaways may actually come from talking to other people in the community, finding out what they're doing, maybe that they're ahead of you in one category or another. Maybe they're not ahead of you in revenue, but they're ahead of you in how they're applying using technology and AI. So keep that in mind and please be willing to share. As far as the agenda this evening, we're going to talk about the shifting landscape with digital, what's changing, a winning formula for the future, mastering the math to have a successful growth plan going into 2026, and the opportunity that's poised right now with AI and leveraging it inside of your marketing, and then just building a competitive roadmap of how you're going to succeed in 2026. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Very good. From here, I'm going to ask everybody to stay muted. I'm going to ask for engagement in the chat. I'm going to keep eyes on it so that I know you're with me. If you have questions throughout, please drop them in. Brittany's going to log them. Where appropriate, she'll let me know to answer them right away. Or at the very end, we also have a Q&A. I'll hang out with you guys as long as you want this evening. And the other thing before I jump into just a brief introduction to me is I realize and appreciate that tonight is a Friday evening. And the fact that you took time out of your busy schedule to come be with me, I'm humbled and appreciative. I'm going to do my best to steward our time well, get you the information you need, and get you onto the weekend so we can all enjoy our weekend. Briefest of introductions. Some of you know who I am, some of you don't. I'm Craig Bond. I'm the owner of Elite Results Marketing. We've been doing marketing for the last decade, actually. I'm just realizing. Prior to that, I was senior systems engineer for the mainframe for Walmart. I didn't get there by accident and I didn't start there. But when I left, I was a senior systems engineer for the mainframe. Basically, my job was babysitting developers. I know a lot about algorithms and coding and how to be successful with that. That translated well when we moved into marketing. I have consulted for large franchise companies like Monster Tree Service, Redbox Dumpsters, so I understand marketing at scale. So whether you're just starting out or you're trying to grow into something real big and large, I know what that looks like on all ends of the spectrum. We also did some cool projects with some e-commerce companies like Safe Life Defense, where we came in, this company doing like $3.5 million a month through their store, helped increase their conversion rate. That's part of the conversation tonight. We increased their conversion rate by about 3 or 4% in the duration that we worked with them. That doesn't sound like a lot until you math that out on $3 or $4 million a month. In addition to that, a couple of years ago, I made some predictions about where we're sitting right now. With AI coming into what it has become, its involvement with marketing and all other aspects of our life, I made some predictions about that. They've come true. I say that while followed by, I don't have a crystal ball. And the things I'm going to share with you tonight, I can't guarantee, but I think we're making educated guesses based off the data that we have in front of us. And we have continuously stayed one step ahead. So that's me. And now we'll get into the meat and potatoes. Again, the topic is planning the year. And ultimately, as the statement down here says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think everybody's familiar with that statement term. I think what some people miss, and maybe you haven't taken time to do, it does sometimes feel like a burden, but it does set you up for success, is you need two primary coordinates in order to be successful with any plan. The first coordinate that is required is where you are. And oftentimes the best way to reflect on that is also how you got there. So looking at 2025 is going to be our first target. And something else I want you to keep in mind is we all tell our friends, family, neighbors one side of the story to how business is going. But then there's the actual story that we need to reflect on as well if we want to be successful with this. And that's, how profitable were we? How stressed were we? How many people did we have to manage? Like, all those factors are also important to keep in mind. And then we have coordinate number two, and same thing, we want exact and measurable outcomes. So if we're going to map to 2026, it's not just a revenue goal that we should be looking towards, but it's also, how profitable do we want to be? What kind of services do we want to offer? How many people are we going to need to hire? How many nights of the week am I going to make it home in time for dinner or not? Like, those are all things that need to be thought through and about, because there's many variable paths that we can take to hit a revenue number, and not all of those are what we would quantify as successful. So let's start with 2025. I'm going to call out some things that I saw and that I believe to be true. If you think differently, please share it with me. But on the whole, and I don't think it was unexpected, 2025 was a downshifted market. And that wasn't just across the glass industry. I do think that if we look back at some of the predictions that NGA made, the last couple of years were anticipated to be tighter years. The other thing we observed, especially in concerns to marketing, was marketing costs for ads increased. A lot of that had to do with how much consumer buying there was slowed down. Whenever markets contract like that, a lot more people lean in and towards marketing, which drive advertising costs up. That's just the mechanics of how it works. On the flip side, we also had some major shifts in how people are engaging with our marketing and engaging with anything that they're buying on a whole. A lot of times, or a lot of what I'm seeing is that more and more people are becoming aware every day of how to use ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and they're starting to rely on it to make decisions for them. They are treating it like it's their best friend who's smarter, wiser, faster than them, and they're entrusting their decision making to it. That scares the crap out of me, and it should scare the crap out of you, and I don't recommend that you do that yourself. However, that is what I'm seeing. It's causing attention spans to get shorter and people to rely on it more and more to serve them up what they're going to do, literally dictation of how they're going to proceed. With that paired with consumer buying slowing down, overall, 2025 was definitely a contracted market. So with that in mind, I want to move into our first breakout session. But before we do, just so that I can kind of get eyes on where you guys stand, was 2025 a year of growth for you or contraction? Did you do better or worse? And keeping in mind, I think that a lot of the companies that we work with had growth, yeah, but not necessarily to the same degree we've had in prior years where we had uptrending markets. Same growth. I like it. I wasn't necessarily anticipating that, but now that I think about it, for the folks that are willing to spend Friday evening with me, makes sense that you guys would have had a plan and been more successful than most. So I like it. Same revenue, higher costs. Yeah, definitely see that. Okay, great. just so that we're all on the same playing field, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Brittany break us out into very small groups. It's a quick 5-minute session. I just want everybody to share where they're at. Take 1 minute, go around the room. You grew, you didn't, same, what you saw, what you reflected on. How was your year? And again, I want you to also keep in mind the points that we talked about, not just from a revenue perspective, not just from a profitability perspective, but in general, was it a good year for you? So Brittany, you got that queued up for us?
Ready to go.
Ready to go. All right. Quick breakout room. Have a quick discussion. We'll come back. We'll move into the next phase. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. All right. Hopefully that was productive. Wanted to get everybody in the mindset that we weren't alone and that we all saw similar same thing, regardless of where we're at geographically, et cetera. The market as a whole was different. It changed. It is a pivotal year. The next thing I want to look at real quick is across the board. I'm going to ask questions. It's okay if you don't have the answer to these right now, but I encourage you to find out what the answer to them is. What was your revenue in 2025? Most companies are aware of that by now. Also, I would venture guess, and if you'll let me know in the chat, I'm curious, how many people took time to actually reflect on 2025 before we jumped into 2026? Felt like 2025 went like that, and we're already into the middle of 2026 and trying to push ahead. Did you actually take time to look at it until now? Or is this kind of the first time we're looking at it? Christina, good to see you. I'm glad you did. Nobody else looked at it or just not willing to tell me?
Are you talking about looked at it like from just like an emotional standpoint or like a number standpoint? How did I feel about last year? Or how did last year actually like was profitable?
I'm less concerned with feelings and more concerned with the holistic picture. So numbers, how was your revenue? That's number one. Next one up, how was your conversion rate? What was your close rate? Like all of those things. Did we reflect on how we did across the board? How much did we spend on marketing? What was the average job value? And is there a way that we can increase it? Things like that. And actually the most important number that I want to ask if everybody actually knows from last year was, what was your CAC or cost to acquire a customer? That's going to be an important one to know. And again, it's okay if you don't know, because I don't know that everybody's tracking that, but I highly encourage you to find out what that number is and start promoting the idea of keeping track of that. That's going to be a lever that we can pull as we move into 2026. I'm going to show you how to get down to that number. We've created some cool tools for you. And now we're going to resurface the Pretty Pink Pony. A while ago, I came up with this concept called the Pretty Pink Pony theory. And Pretty Pink Pony theory played out a lot this past year. We've had a lot of conversations with businesses just like yours, and everybody seemed to want to start in the same place, which is why we saw ad costs go up. Everybody thought, I need to change marketing companies. I need to change my ad strategy. I need to spend more on marketing. But I think realistically, part of them are looking in the wrong place. Not always, but more often than not, I've made the recommendation that they should not spend more money on marketing, which is counterintuitive to what most marketing agencies will tell you. So what Pretty Pink Pony theory is on a scale of Pretty Pink Pony to professional, everybody is always somewhere in the middle. The closer to Pretty Pink Pony you are, the less likely it is that you should spend money on marketing and you're going to be successful with it. I am now the proud owner of prettypinkpony.com to illustrate this fact. Elite Results Marketing, in my opinion, runs the best ads that are possible to run. We have the best ad copy, the best targeting, best conversion tracking to send the signals back to Google that's necessary to ensure we're feeding that feedback loop to be successful. However, if I run our ads to this website versus, say, GCS Glass and Mirrors website, which one do you think is going to convert the best? And I bought this website or built this website intentionally where it breaks all of the rules. It's super unclear. It's filled with friction. They're only open a couple hours a week. The way they want to communicate is through fax, or if you want a quote, you have to fill out this big long form, tell them your blood type, your kid's middle name, how many times you blinked. A little bit ridiculous. I intentionally am using this as a harsh contrasting example, and yet this is not actually so far-fetched. If you're watching this later on the recording or you're here on this call, sadly, this website might be better than some we've seen. Agreed. Actually, what I was just getting ready to show is these are real websites that we have found or come across that I would classify as Pretty Pink Pony websites. This is a real website. If I run our ads to this is going to convert very differently than GCS's website. If I pull up this website, this one doesn't even necessarily look bad, but what on earth is going on? And do you think it leads to the likelihood of someone purchasing? Or is it just confusing? Another example, kellysglass.net. I have to highlight the text to see it because it's invisible. They look like maybe they're a glass company. Nothing's clickable. And then this is another one. And I've been watching this for months. Maybe I'm a jerk for not like directly contacting him and asking him. I've been impressed that it hasn't gotten fixed. Again, if I run ads to this website, I really don't see there being a lot of growth occur. And I'll tell you what, just because I do feel like I'm having this epiphany in the moment, I'm going to call these people directly and ask them if they'd like to fix their website because this is terrible. They may not even be aware. I presume they're not aware. Either way, again, Pretty Pink Pony theory is a reference to the fact that when you have holes in your bucket, the objective is not to pour more water in the bucket. It's just going to leak out all over the ground. Um, a Pretty Pink Pony website doesn't always come packaged in an ugly format either. I've seen some very pretty websites, but they don't objectively walk customers from where they're at to where they need to go to make a buying decision. It can be a result of poor user experience, lack of trust and authority, ultimately leading to a low conversion rate. And as we move into the conversation about AI search, which I've written a whole book about, I won't spend a lot of time trying to talk through those points. It's free. You can go pick it up. It'll be published on Kindle and Audible here shortly. It's going to disqualify you from being seen by the LLM. So when someone does a search in ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, etc., you're just not going to show up. And so I want to talk about how we fix that first. And before we get into that part, I'm going to talk about a really sad reality or sad fact that ties right back into Pretty Pink Pony. And that fact is that the industry average for a home service website, the conversion rate on that is 3 to 5%. That means you have to spend money on SEO, on paid ads, whether it's PPC, Facebook ads, whatever, to generate 100 visitors, and ad costs are rising, only to get 3 to 5 requests for a quote. And then only 1 or 2 of those is actually going to turn into a job. I don't care if we were in an up market, that's going to be very difficult to grow and scale with any kind of certainty. You're always playing on your back foot here. With that stated, we looked at this a while ago when we came into the glass market and said that's silly and absurd. And we've been consistently working towards our websites that we build for our customers generate a 10 to 20% conversion rate. Those numbers start to make sense. That formula in action, I'll give you some actionable examples. This is a glass wine cellar company converting at 9.42%. Slower than what I want. And these metrics are over the last 90 days, by the way. Lower than what I want, but not also unexpected considering the high ticket that a wine cellar would be and the limited market demand there is for this time period. Then we get into the next one. This is a glass shower door company who had growth last year. They added over 100 additional showers to what they had the prior year, converting at 14%. They've only been with us just over a year. And we have a few more, 17% average cost per lead, around $19, 17%, $5 per lead, 17%, $8 per. We got there by creating a formula, and we follow the formula relentlessly until we start seeing those numbers. It doesn't always start there, but we've got a formula that's replicatable that we can produce that kind of result with consistency. That is, number one, we create local relevancy to establish the person's in the right place. They don't figure that they're in the wrong place. We're product matching, making sure they understand that you have the product or service that they want. We're building trust and credibility through psychological triggers, imagery, etc. Providing them resources to make an informed decision because a confused buyer does not buy. Clear, actionable next steps. Again, a confused buyer does not buy, and we want to remove any hesitancy about what happens next in the buying process so that they will move forward. Making our websites more accessible. This is a big one. If you take away just one of these, take away the accessibility, meeting more people where they're at, adding the ability to text you to get a quote, add a form to get a quote, call to get a quote with certainty that someone's going to pick up and answer and talk to them right away. That in itself can increase conversion rate simply because some people don't like talking on the phone. Some people don't like waiting for you to respond back to them on a form. And so text may be the only way they're going to do business with you. And if they don't see that as an option, they may leave, never come back and go to one of your competitors. Just as one example. And then you got back-end efficiency. I think I saw Rob pop on here. You're on here, Rob. Good to see you. With follow-up, using back-end systems to create efficiency and ensuring that everybody gets responded to in a quick and timely manner, get the information that they're looking for to keep walking that conversation forward. This is the secret sauce. This is where I'll take a pause to do our pitch. That way, because for me, every time I get on a webinar, I sit and wonder like, okay, where's the shoe going to drop? Here's the pitch. I have a book. I wrote a book just for the glass industry on AI search and everything that you need to know. It's about a 3-hour listen if you do the audiobook. You can go to glassmarketingblueprint.com and pick that up. It's 100% for free. Again, because I want to see you succeed. The second offer is, Brittany's on here controlling things for me. Book a free strategy call with her and talk to her if you want to build out a plan with us. We're going to go over some more planning here in a second. I'm going to show you some of the math that we do. But if you want us to work with you on a one-to-one basis to look at your market, your competition, help build out a 12-month roadmap, give you the opportunity to punch holes in the plan all before we ever do any kind of an agreement. That's our offer. Right now, until the end of February, we're still offering that for the price that we've been offering it at. We are going to be raising the price in February. We've had a lot of demand for it. In fact, I think we have a waiting list. Brittany can confirm or deny that. I think we're down to the point that we have a waiting list because so many people are asking for it. If you want to grab yours for the price that it's at right now, which is $500, which if you move forward with that, gets applied to any marketing service you end up doing with us, we'll agree that if you don't want to fill it out, you don't want to work with us to do it now, but you want that price, you buy it now. We can do it in April, June, whenever, up to a year. You'll lock in your spot. So there's the pitch. If you want to try to get into these kind of results, this is where we're already at. But moving right along, what I'm more interested in is looking at what 2026 could look like. And this is where I'm super excited. And we've had a lot of conversations with some of you that are on here and punched holes in some of the ideas and concepts we have. But I just want first us to imagine, we started at the beginning. I told you, the more clearly you can define for yourself what a successful 2026 looks like, how many jobs you need to close, what type of jobs those are going to be, how many trucks and team members are going to be required to manage to do that successfully, if there's any price adjustments that need to be made. All these things are things to consider. So just take a second. What would a successful 2026 look like for you? Would it be stress-free? Would you ensure that you're home for dinner every night? You're not working on the weekends? You're profitable? Because there's many different paths to an outcome. You say, hey, I want an extra $1 million in revenue. Well, what if that only yields an extra $1,000 in profit? Way more team members to manage, a lot more headaches. I wouldn't make that trade. I hope you wouldn't either. I was very intentional about not doing this event until later in January. Drop a me in the chat if you actually took time more than just 5 minutes to set a revenue target or to say, hey, yeah, I want to grow in 2026. Did you set a plan out for yourself for 2026? Me in the chat if yes. No. Okay, not a problem. That's what we're here for tonight. Yes, yes. Good. Plan for the next 3 years. Good. I like it. Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Hopefully, I'm going to give you some ideas that will help tighten that up. I'll be pleasantly surprised if I don't cover at least one thing that you didn't think of. Christina, no. Come on, Christina. No worries. I'm going to give you some things to think about. And I'm going to recommend that you take no less than at least a day to yourself and you map this out. Think strategically about what it is that you want. I don't even plan dinner. That sounds right. That sounds right for you, Mr. Melina. All right. Well, here's the good news. 26, if there's a year to do it, 2026 is the year to sit and make plans. And actually, I didn't map this in. I don't have a slide on this. I'm just going to share with you guys. I'm so passionate about the industry that you guys are in, and I see the shift and the opportunity that's available right now, that one of my personal goals that I mapped out at the beginning of the year, I took 3 days to do so, is we're intending to actually purchase and or start a glass company here locally. So we plan to join your ranks of not just marketing for you guys, but also being owners of glass company ourselves. And again, part of that is because of the advantage that I see. So looking towards 2026 forecasting, NGA put out some numbers the last couple of years indicating we were going to have downward pressure. They're indicating the next 4 years are going to be pivotal, and we're going to start to see an increase in demand. I looked at what they had to say. I looked at what some other economists had to say. I looked across the market. I tend to favor and agree. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all these points, but the general takeaway is, yes, we're going to have a good 4 years. And yes, 2026 is part of that. But that downward pressure that we have had applied is going to take some time to reverse. And that it's expected that the first part of this year is probably going to be slower. So the objective right now is how do we maximize our leverage and how we ensure that we can weather the storm so that we can get to a point that we can take advantage of those high growth periods. This is why we've shifted our focus where we did. I also want to lay out for you that no matter how well we do marketing, we don't make demand. And so you're going to have to ensure there is market demand for what it is that you want to sell, whether it's auto glass, flat glass products, showers, windows, railings, commercial. There has to be demand. No amount of marketing is ever going to replace the need for demand. I think everybody gets that concept as a whole. If not, please see us afterwards. We need to have a serious conversation. Fair? Gary Halbert, who's a famous copywriter, famously stated, and I'm going to paraphrase just for the sake of time. Basically, if you were going to sell hamburgers, the one advantage that he would want is a starving audience. Again, market demand trumps all. After we establish market demand, there are 5 key levers to being successful in growing a business. And I'm gonna talk through a quick framework that you can memorize. It's easy to remember. It's reputation, reach, resell, referral. In that order is what is important to ensure you have established in order to grow your company. So in order here, we need market demand, then visibility, then what we call the AAA framework, which is accuracy, attractiveness, accessibility. Set talk about whether we have holes in our bucket, and then speed to lead and follow up. This is where a conversation with Rob with follow up, do glass, would be relevant and necessary to ensure that we're continuing the conversation in an expedient manner, walking across the finish line, and then finishing out with upsell, referrals, and reviews. Now, some of you may be looking at my slide and going, wait, 1, 5, 3, 4, 2, Craig, you messed up your slide. This is not a mess up. This is intentional. Market demand is first, but as far as the order of operations that we try to tackle this whenever we're building a roadmap audit for our customers is number one, we want to quantify that you are in a position that you're running your company that you would receive referrals and reviews. Two reasons for that. Number one, if people are not likely to leave you positive reviews or refer your business, it means you're not doing business well. And the last thing I want to do is go shout from the rooftops about our business and tell more people how not great we are. Okay. If we button this one up, reviews are going to help us in the AAA framework to ensure that we are an attractive business to work with, shore up the holes in our bucket, make sure we're converting well. Then we want to make sure that our salespeople are following up, communicating, et cetera, getting across the finish line. Then and only then am I willing to take a look at how do we get in front of more people. As it goes, you can't outsell the number of people who know who you are and what you offer, but I don't want to go tell those people about that until we plugged all the holes in our bucket. So the order of operation is market demand, upsells, referrals, and reviews, AAA framework for conversion rate, speed, lead, and follow up. Then and only then do we start applying more marketing dollars to increase our visibility. Now, let's talk about the threat. And there is one. As much opportunity as there is, the threat is not about whether we should be doing SEO, whether AI is important or not. It's about adapting to our current market condition, adapting to shifts in technology, and adapting to the shifts in consumer dynamics. Those who take advantage of this and participate will gain outsized returns. Those who do not will fall behind. I liken this to whenever people relied heavily on phone books, yellow pages, and then everybody started moving to digital and online. The ones that adopted that and were first movers gained outsized rewards for being first movers and adopters. They took market share away from people that had crazy market share before. Those people fell behind and the first movers won. We're in the same position now. With that, I'm going to shift over to budgeting real quick. And this may actually uncover for you a hole in our planning. So if you go to our website, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a section called marketing resources and tools. You guys are welcome to follow along this evening with this. And these are free to use. I highly encourage use them quarterly, monthly, at your leisure. On this budget planner, you can put in what your annual revenue is. For hypothetical sake, I'm going to put 1.5 million. And then people far smarter than me figured out a long while ago that somewhere between 6 and 10% is what we should be budgeting for marketing on an annual basis. This calculator will help you put your number in. And if this number is a gut punch to you and you're not spending anywhere close to this may be why you're struggling to grow. If you're spending at least that amount, then we're probably in good shape. Either way, I want to make sure that we have a realistic number for growth. I went about middle of the road, did 8%, which implies that I need about $120,000 in marketing budget. Now, that's not what I'm saying to fork over directly into online marketing. The calculator then lets you put into different buckets, whether we're doing online marketing, offline marketing, and repeat business, which could take different frameworks. However, what you have available to you, let's say I was a $500,000 company, my annual budget cuts to 40, I would probably want to try to spend more on my online marketing because of the higher return that it has the probability of producing. And then as it calculates out into your online marketing, you want to think in terms of SEO, which is going to produce longevity and lower cost per leads over time, PPC, which has the ability to create speed, but costs more, especially with ad prices increasing. And then how much you're using for display and retargeting to bring people back and continue to convert those. But keep in mind for you, where you ended 2025, your annual revenue, what is the expected marketing budget we're going to need for growth? And then we're going to think through these points. We talked about it for 2025. Let's look at 2026. What is your desired number? So how much in revenue do we want to do? Then do you know your current conversion rate? If not, what is the target that you want? You've seen kind of the numbers. You want that 3 to 5%, 15%, 17%, higher? What is your average job value? And is there a way that we can increase that? And then what does it cost to acquire a customer? I keep coming back to this one because this is the key lever that the solutions we're going to show you tonight have to offer. And then what percentage of your business comes from repeat business or referral business? These are also a key lever that we're going to pull. And if we go back to the tool here, we have the lead planner. This is where you can put in your current annual revenue, what your target is. And this is going to help you break down what a realistic framework for achieving that goal is. So if I am at $1 million and I want to get to 1,500,000, and let's hypothetically say we're a shower door company and our average ticket value on our shower is $1,500, then I'm trying to make up $1,000 in revenue on top of what we're already doing. I need to generate 28 closed jobs with this average ticket value. And then we need to look at, do we know what our close rate is? And I'm just curious if you track close rate at all. And if you do, can you put in for me what your average close rate right now is for your company? The last number I see is 5. I hope that's not conversion rate. Everybody got conversion rates? 45%. Good. I like it. 67%. Okay. 50%. Okay. 53. All right. I'll let you keep putting those in there. And I'll leave you with something to think about. So for those of you that are higher than I'd say 45%, I have you consider one of two potential probabilities. And you tell me if I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to eat my words. But likely, if you're closing higher than 45%, which tends to be on the top end for some of the better companies that we work with, then either you're not generally doing a lot of digital marketing, you're not working with a lot of people that are not familiar with you, a lot of referrals, and or you may be underpricing your products and services. But have you consider that maybe, just maybe, your average ticket value needs to increase and that you're busy doing a race to the bottom and you're closing too often. The reason I point that out is whenever I change this number to $2,100, I only need 20 closed jobs per month, which means a lot less stress and headaches in managing team and or scheduling jobs, potential go backs, etc. So the higher I can make that ticket value, that average ticket value, the more profitable I can be with less headache and stress. And this is why I stressed a second ago, what do you want your 2026 to look like? It's not just a top line revenue number. Okay. I'm going to shift this back to 1,500 for continuity's sake. I would not say that I would say going below 30%, something's probably wrong. Something's wrong in your advertising. We're getting the wrong leads or we have something broken in our sales pipeline. I'm going to go to the bottom end here just for the sake of example, but I would anticipate if you're around 35 to 45%, you're in a good range. Anything above that, you might want to look at one of those two variables and whether we're just not spending a lot of time in front of new people or we're underpricing ourselves. At 30% close rate, I need 94 leads in order to hit my target every single month. Okay. This then allows us to put in an average cost per lead. And you saw some of those projected in the screenshots I showed you from our customers. Again, I'm operating off a hypothetical example of a shower door company. If you are doing wine cellars and partitions, it's probably go up closer like $150, $200. It's dependent upon what you're selling, what these are going to be. If you're doing auto glass, IGUs, these come down some. Again, this is hypothetical. This is saying that I'm going to need to spend around $2,000 to $8,000 to generate the leads that I need for the target that I'm aiming for. An annual budget of 27 to 105. You're going to want to check back in with the budget planner on whether that's reasonable to do. Otherwise, we're going to have to do some adjustment to their numbers, close rate, average ticket value, etc. This will then give you a promoted cost to acquire a customer. So our average cost to acquire a customer in this example is $83 to $317. I'm not saying you have to do all of the top end of this, but this might be some of what needs to be added back to your average ticket price. I know glass is a 4-letter word in the glass business. Fair enough. Fair enough. I know what your targets are. And then this gives you a projected return on investment. Now, keep in mind, this is based off of revenue, not profitability, but on average, this is recommending that for every dollar you spend, you should be getting 5 to 18 back. And then it then gives you a scorecard that you can work off of with your team for a monthly target and a weekly target of how many leads need to be acquired, how many jobs need to close, how much revenue that should bring back, and what you should expect to spend on it. If you're exceeding this number to generate this back, we start being in trouble. Okay. So again, these tools are free. They're on our website and find them. Highly recommend using those on a regular basis. But what I want to keep circling back around on is cost to acquire a customer. The lower I can make my cost to acquire a customer, the more money I have on a regular basis to spend, to keep spending, to acquire more customers. If I can get my customer to pay for themselves to be there, I then have budget to turn around and go find another one. This allows for growth. Famous quote from Dan Kennedy is, the business that wins is the one who can spend the most to acquire customers. Hands down, can't agree more. If you guys agree, give me a spend it to make it so I know that we're all on the same page. It's all making sense. I feel like I went on a monologue rant there for a minute, so Let me know you're still with me. And just make it. All right. Christina's like, woo, clear as mud, brother. Got it. Very good. All right. Let me talk about the other opportunity. I'm going to keep this condensed just for the sake of time here. You've already been very liberal with your time. The AI opportunity. So one of the things that I think is going to help us, and I cover this ad nauseum in the book itself, Clear Advantage, is that with people trusting AI the way they are, which again, I don't love, but is the case. Ultimately, with them pushing towards a singular answer, we're going to end up either showing up for the customer or not. The good news is if we play the game correctly and we provide them them being the LLMs, Google search, ChatGPT, et cetera, the information that they need to understand what we do offer, what we don't offer, maybe more importantly, what we don't offer. Then when we do get paired up with a customer, the likelihood that that customer is a customer that will buy from us increases. So I think this in and of itself is going to shape up that we can start increasing conversion rates because we're not spending as much money to get in front of people that are not the right ideal target. That only happens if you take care of the back end of your website and provide the information that's necessary. The other shift and change that I'm really excited about is this patent that dropped literally just a week and a half ago. And I won't get into the boring details of it, but the smoking gun, the in essence fact is that they're being predictive in search now. So rather than waiting for someone to search shower door professional near me or I need to replace my auto glass, they're looking at past search histories or current search histories and being predictive. Just like when you start to type out a text on your keyboard, it starts predicting what you might have to say. They're doing the same thing and they're taking it as far as, to give an example, if I'm looking at Zillow, this implies that maybe I'm selling my house. And if I'm selling my house, I might want to increase the value of my house. And if I'm trying to increase the value of my house, I may need to do a remodel. And one of those remodeling aspects may be in my bathroom to add a frameless shower door. That means someone that's searching on Zillow may start seeing advertising or being recommended in other tangential searches, our companies, before they even know that they need you. And being paired up on a one-to-one basis because of the sophisticated matching that's going on. This in and of itself is going to increase conversion rates, which I think is going to help us win in this upcoming year. If you adopt this now and we start making the shift on our websites to turn them into databases, to arm the AI like a salesperson with a slide deck of information that tells them why people should buy from you and not your competitor. And now we're going to get into the innovation real quick. And I want to state this quote that's famously attributed to Henry Ford. And it's that if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. And that's not what he came up with. And that's where we've turned our attention. I've spent so many hours in conversation with businesses like yours that are like, we want better ads. We want more traffic. And I said, I hear you, but I think that there's another place that our focus should be on that would be better leveraged to give us better returns, to make it easier for us to grow our companies, even during a market like we're experiencing right now. So we've covered that right now, our average customer's website produces 10 to 20% compared to the industry standard of 3 to 5%. Our goal, when Elite Results Marketing sat down and did our planning session, said, we want to see what we can do to move that to 30 to 40%. How do we make our ad budgets go further? How do I make our marketing campaigns have more leverage? And 30 to 40% is the target we've set our sight on. The problem that we have to overcome right now in order to achieve that is this. The reason our websites work so well right now is we have a formula that allows us to think thoroughly through the conscious or subconscious questions that people probably have. And we try to answer as many of those as possible to move them down the line towards a buying action, aka picking up the phone, sending you a message, requesting a quote. We are crippled by the fact that right now we do that through a static website where we are relying on laying those elements out in a strategic order to get most people to buy from us. Then we have the fact that people are, again, using AI so frequently and they're getting lazier and lazier. They don't want to hunt information up. It's being served up to them lightning fast in the way that they want it. And so we started thinking about how consumerism has changed and what elements we currently have on the board. And we said, well, what if we just chuck the whole thing out and we imagine something new? And so we've started putting that together. I'm going to demonstrate some of those. We're finally to the exciting part. Before I do that, I want to explain that whether you're in auto glass or you do flat glass or you do commercial, we're working on processes to resolve all of those. For tonight and for what we've been working on, because we serve so many in the shower door community that focus on selling showers, that's where we place our attention at the moment. But if you're in one of these other services, we haven't forgotten about you and we are working on those as well. Also, I want you to keep in mind that I need a little bit of imagination because these are prototypes We've been prototyping each one of these segments of the tool separately. They will all become one continuous pathway for a customer whenever we're done. So I'm going to demonstrate the first one on our own website, and I'm only going to play the first bit again for the sake of time. And then if you guys want to see more of it, you can look at it after.
Into elite result marketing, the only marketing company built exclusively.
I want you to note my hands are off the keyboard.
Great, another marketing company. You've probably been on a lot of marketing companies' websites, but you likely never experienced one like this. If you'll give me just a minute or two, I'm going to walk you through exactly why we're different and how we think about marketing for glass companies and how we can help our clients create real strategic advantages in their market. With that in mind, if you install frameless showers, railings, storefronts, curtain walls, auto glass, or custom architectural glass, you're in the right place. Everything you're about to see was designed for one industry and one only, and that's glass. Not generic home services, not contractors, not local services, not everyone. Just glass companies that want better leads, better projects, and marketing systems that actually scale. Why lead exists.
All right, I'm going to pause it there, and I just want to talk to you a couple points. Number one, this is phase one. Phase one says, how do I have more modalities to engage my customer in a meaningful way? So we've added audio and we've added a component where I can guide their attention to the things that we find are most important to psychologically push them down the path of buying. Phase two of this will look more interactive, where depending on what they're there for and what phase of the buying cycle they're in, we change and curate their path to match them, which will increase our conversion rate. Meaning, when I get to a glass website, they say, hey, we do everything glass. What are you interested in? They say, I'm here for a shower door. That then dictates and changes the path, and everything on the page rearranges to match that circumstance. And we say, great. Are you just looking for a quote? You already know what you want, or do you need some more information and you're just looking right now? Depending on that answer or response, again, things will shift and change, and we will curate the path that is best for them to remove as much friction as possible. The other thing I want to keep in mind that has been pointed out and requested and asked through conversation on this is going to be an additive strategy. The objective is not to break anything that's already working, but add an element of engagement for the user to engage with if they so choose. We're not going to take away from them the fact that they can still click to get a quote or click to text or navigate the website themselves. But we will create an encouraging asset, a wrapper-like effect that will allow us to navigate them to the things that are most important to them, very reactive and responsive, just like they're interacting with ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, etc. The other advantage here is because we're giving them that information back, we are now entitled to ask for information that we've always wanted on the sales side, but cannot ask for. I've had a lot of conversations about forums where people want name, email address, phone number, get them to measure out their own dimensions, etc. And the more of those things that we ask for, the more friction points that we create for the customer. However, when I'm engaging with them and asking about where they're at in their buying process, and they know that it's going to curate the information they want faster, they're willing to give us that. We're going to be collecting that information in the back end the whole way, so that by the time we do ask for their name, email, and phone number, we know a whole lot about them, and that information can be shipped directly to your salespeople and arm them to the teeth, ready to go sell them with where they're at in their process and what they're looking for. The next phase or component of this, one of the things we did to increase our conversion rates was we added buyer's guides. And we've now married that concept with the original one and an additional one where, as a person is, say, choosing a shower layout, they can visualize it. If they want more information about it, we can give an overview of the product, pros, things to consider, price range, common questions. They can chat directly with the bot, and this will all be your company's information based off your pricing models, your recommendations, products you offer, don't offer, etc. We can also strategically give nudges, just like we do in our buyer's guides with, this is a recommendation that we have, and generally most people buy, things like that, and psychologically push them through as well. Again, choosing options for glass type, hardware type, etc. We get them down to this place. All of that information is being collected, and we already need to do this. We already need to do this if we want to win with LLMs in search. They need to be provided the information, like our pricing. That is a huge win. Like our pricing, what makes us different, what our turnaround times are. All those are pieces of information that LLMs want to match us with those end users. So if we're going to have to give it to them anyways, we might also take advantage of it to curate and provide the information in the pathway for our end user. This brings us down to the last point. As they have selected their options and they are ready to move to the next step, I'm going to ask you a question first. If I were selling Rolexes or a high-end watch, what is the best way to sell a watch in person? Does anybody know?
Right on.
Haven't put it on.
That's right. Get it on the wrist. This allows them to visualize a future with that product or service. And so the next iterative step, how nice would it be if I could say, all right, we've helped you select these options. Would you like an instantaneous quote? And would you like to see what this looks like in your bathroom? Which is where I forgot to tell my joke at the beginning. I was going to say the pretty pink pony was not the weirdest thing you guys were going to see all night. You'll get to see my bathroom. I thought it was a good joke. Anyways, so options get selected, and then we are able to generate a hypothetical image of what this would look like in their bathroom, pull real-time measurements that are close enough to justify providing a quote, and then offer them scheduling their consultation to get this on the books. Again, to try it on before you buy it. Now, questions or concerns, problems that come up or arise, Mr. Molina actually provided us this image and provided us a lot of context back in this facet. What I don't want to happen is for us to generate an image like this and have the dimensions wrong and this thing be put together incorrectly. Because even though the customer might not recognize it, it may not be the most conducive way to put this together, and then you're fighting them on the back end. So what we've proposed is that we want to spend a lot of time with you guys collecting information and engineering a rule book for how and what we can observe in the images for measurement. So average bath pan sizes, tile size, etc., can all go into creating more accurate measurements, dimensions, and rules for how these should be laid out appropriately. Again, so we don't run into those frictions. The image that Mr. Molina originally produced for us was this one for a real project. And after taking the quantifiable information that he gave us, the rules of what he observes as the long-standing shower door guy that he is, we took that and made that into a rule book, which we're continually adding on to. And I had this double checked against somebody else. I'm curious if you'd weigh in, Mr. Molina. Is there any issues with the new generated image, or does this fit the rules we talked about?
It's much better than what it did the first time. So it's definitely come a long way.
Making
I don't remember
progress.
what it did the first time. I just remember it was way off.
Oh, it was. This is what it was first time.
Yeah, I put a handle
Yeah,
on.
it's
Yeah,
sitting on the knee wall, and whole bunch
yeah,
of
the
things
door.
wrong.
Yeah, you need like a
We don't
notch.
want that.
Panel.
The point being that I want to call out that we're aware there's gaps and that we're going to have to work on this. But I think the concept as a whole creates an opportunity for us. The opportunity lives in what I'm calling the experience flywheel, where if we can give our customer a curated path, reducing friction, serving up the information that's most useful to them, we're going to increase our conversion rate a little bit. On top of the AI traffic matching, also going to increase our conversion rate. The wow experience of how these new websites will act and perform, and then followed by you guys having a clean, consistent, high value process with your customer to complete the sale, you're going to start generating additional referrals, which increases your conversion rate again. Instead of just tracking, you spend $1 and you generate 8 to 16 back with one customer. That one customer is so excited about their experience with you for first movers that they're then telling this friend, that friend, which generates 1, maybe 2 additional customers for the same marketing spend. All of this ends up lowering your total cost to acquire a customer, which gives you more money to throw back into marketing. Again, making our marketing budget stretch further and further. And I've curated an example. We can go to the zero calculator. If I were to put $2,000 in spend, again, our average ticket value of $1,500, the lower end sales close rate, an average cost is $6 per click, which is about national average for showers at this point. The numbers work out as such. For average 3 to 5%, it's 9 to 16 leads, 2 to 4 closed deals, $3,000 to $6,000 in revenue back. That's really damn hard to grow. For our current optimized numbers at 10 to 20%, we get to a 6 to 14x return. Cost to acquire customers about 100 to $200. If we hit our target at 30 to 40%, this brings our cost to acquire customer down to 50 to $60 and gets us a 21 to 29x multiple. Is much, much, much easier to grow and scale a company. So the takeaway here is I think the shift with AI traffic, if we play that game, will lead to higher intent search results paired with our new structure, our new experience for customers on our websites, creates a force multiplier that will give you outsized returns. Thinking beyond and outside of just marketing, AI can be leveraged in a number of different ways, from predictive inventory, depending on what kind of services you offer, smart lead scoring and follow-up to ensure that we're not, again, having holes in our bucket on that side of the fence, faster estimating processes. And then inevitably, when you solve these problems, you're going to have to hire more people. And when you hire more people, they need to be trained using AI. Actually, Mr. Molina subbed in on this one as well, creating a gem, as he's done, start using it to create resources for your team to create more autonomy. And I had planned another breakout session, but for the sake of time, I want to kick it over to Josh and let him share some ideas with you. And I think he'll pair nicely into sharing some additional ways that AI could potentially be useful. Before I kick it over to him, I just want to mention that we've started a Facebook group. I would encourage and appreciate if you would join this group and help us on a regular basis, provide feedback on these tools that we're building. If you see something outside of the glass industry that you find is cool or interesting, share those ideas and concepts. Most of what we shared tonight came from conversations with companies like yours that started with something that had nothing to do with glass. Most of the best ideas we brought to glass to achieve the conversion rates that we do have come from external markets. I'd like to help make traditionally the glass market has been kind of an archaic technology averse one. There's a lot of pen and paper stuff still going on. I don't think that's this crew that's here with me tonight, but I'd like to make it an industry leader where other markets start adopting and copying what we're doing. So if you're interested in the group, please join us. At this point, now that I've worn him out, I'm going to turn it over to Josh so he can weigh in on what we've seen and share some of what he has to offer tonight. And where is Josh so that I can make him a co-host and jump in here?
Oh man, don't do that. Nobody wants to see this face. Leave him on you. You got that amazing beard. I'll be there someday, 5 years from now. Hey, Craig and Alyssa and Brittany, thank you for having me on. I'm so thankful to be here. And I just want to say this clearly to all the people that are here at 6:46 on Central Time on a Friday night, you're killers. You're in the right room. And I want to say that I don't partner lightly and I don't endorse lightly. What Craig and his team deliver for the price that they charge is honestly absurd. I would dare anyone to find more price or, for more value, more execution, more integrity in this space for what they cost. So if you're serious about growing a glass business in 2026, elite results should not even be optional. So in fact, they're a core part of the roadmap that I recommend for scaling a glass company rapidly. And if you needed confirmation, take my recommendation as someone who started, scaled, and exited a glass company for 7 figures in under 2 years. And I said it in the chat just a minute ago, but I was paying a whole lot more for a whole lot less than what they offer. So I'm glad that we touched on that earlier, but just know that I'm a big believer that a business and your business owners, they need a clear vision, right? There's a verse that stuck with me for years, and it was that where there is no vision, the people perish. You see, most glass business owners, they don't fail because they aren't working hard. And in fact, there are a few trades that work harder than glazers, and I'll stand by that having lived it. Businesses fail because they grow without a destination. So you're going to get more leads, more installs, more chaos, but no clear direction for where the business is actually going. And here's the paradox that I see constantly, especially in the glass industry. Elite results helps you win traffic, so you book more job, revenue starts going up, but suddenly you're the bottleneck, right? Pricing still runs through you, scheduling still runs through you, quality control still runs through you. And that's why growth without structure doesn't create freedom. It creates pressure and stress, missed opportunities with your family, putting in the hard hours on Friday night to get ahead, right? So my vision is to help owners scale while stepping back using smart systems and AI, or to prepare for an exit on the business owner's terms. Not because they have to sell, but because they've built an asset that's genuinely desirable to investors or private equity, right? So whether you plan to sell your business or not, exit readiness is the ultimate stress test for you as an owner. And because buyers, right, they're looking for the same 3 things that you need to scale cleanly. That's clarity first, right? Do your numbers tell a clean story? Does your team know who owns what? You'd be surprised. Is pricing consistent? Do you know which jobs to say yes to and which to walk away from? I saw some high close rates, 65, anything about 45. Wow. Right. So we're saying yes to maybe too many jobs, or we're just not charging enough. So anyways, too often owners, they bog themselves down with low margin work, or they stay stuck with their worst clients out of fear. Right. So the second thing is margin. So are you actually keeping what you earn, or are you just working harder for the same amount of money? See that a lot. Someone said, hey, I posted the same top line, but material was higher. Right. So not really growing in margin there. Last thing, accountability. Can your business operate without you touching everything? Right. So if you fix those 3 things, you have clarity, margin, and accountability in your business, then your business becomes both valuable and enjoyable. And I would argue that you wouldn't want to exit that business. That might be your end goal. But if you're doing those things right, you're simultaneously scaling while stepping back from operations. And that's the win, right? And as you've heard, I've lived this personally, right? I've invested thousands of hours operating my own company. But what you don't know is that I also spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in education, consulting, real world execution, franchising to develop the roadmap that I now use and give to other business owners, right? So I've put in a lot of work to get to that place. And, it goes beyond just glass. I've worked with manufacturing companies and a few other trade companies doing multiple millions and larger, more complex organizations. But I can tell you this with certainty. Most owners think that they need to grow bigger before they can step back or sell, and that's wrong. You just need to get clear first in every facet of your business. And that's why I built the exit readiness assessment. It's not a quiz. It's not generic advice. It's going to be a structured review of your financial performance, revenue quality, operations and systems, team and leadership, technology and automation, smart systems and AI, whether or not that's a part of your business, legal and structural readiness. And normally when I do that with a company, I charge a minimum of $3,000, but because of the depth and time involved, but for this group, and because I really respect what Greg's doing, and he twisted my arm with it,
Yes, I did.
I'm actually going to give you access to that full assessment debrief, matching his offer at $500. And I'll be upfront, like I'm going to lose money on my time at that rate, and it's only going to be available on this call. But I'd rather over deliver to the right people, the people that are sitting in the seat that I sat in. And there was times where I was confused, like, oh, this is tough. So I empathize most with glass companies because that was where I kind of proved, it was my proving grounds. That's where I cut my teeth, right? So if you're worried about handling more leads, getting more installs, handling more volumes, it's exactly why this roadmap works. Elite Results is going to drive your growth. And then I'm going to help make sure that your business doesn't break under the pressure that he's going to throw at you. And so after that exit readiness assessment, I'll present a tailored roadmap. It'll combine traditional consulting, but also AI implementation designed specifically for your business. It's what I'm extremely passionate about moving forward. But this is how we're going to build a business for you that scales and gives you options, right? So here's my challenge to you. If you're serious about winning in 2026, I would almost guarantee that all of you are. You don't want to just survive. You want to get clear. So take the exit readiness assessment. Craig's going to give you the link, and let's identify where you're leaking value and how we can fix it. We want to create clarity, which will lead to margin. Margin will create freedom, and accountability is going to make it all sustainable. So thanks again, everybody. That's what I've got. I'm excited for Q&A.
I'm curious, real quick, for everybody to know, out of what I talked about, what do you feel like you see most commonly with people that you've worked with that is the big bottleneck breaker? What's truly the most common reason that they're failing to be ready to exit or have the ability to gain that?
So I guess I'll go. So I always feel like the system can always be better. Like I always feel like you can wrap your arms like around 95% of like systemizing stuff. And then there's always that 5% or that like one anomaly that comes in. It's like, all right, if the lady isn't home and the contract is paying and there's a check and it's just like coming up with this workflow to systemize for absolutely everything. That's what I struggle with because I always feel like I'm doing terrible, but deep down, I know I'm not, but I always feel like I'm doing terrible because it's just like, what am I doing wrong? That I can't just get everybody on the same page. But I step back and I look at it and I know we're doing okay, but there's always just those times that come to me, find Michael. And that's just what I struggle with the most. I'm the bottleneck. I'm the bottleneck. I know that. So anytime I have to get involved, it slows down because I'm dealing with insurance and workman's comp and so if they have to come to me with a question regarding a job, that job slows down.
Yeah, man. If you've got that information living in your head, you're not going to be able to execute. And you're not going to have a transferable business that someday you can step back from and let operate as a true asset for you. You did say that, this isn't surprising. You did say earlier that you don't know how to plan for your own dinner. So I'm not surprised, my guy. But the thing is no system is ever going to be absolutely perfect. But you've got to get the information that is living between your two ears on paper somewhere. Your team's got to understand it. They've got to trust it. They've got to go prioritize and execute on what you've set the expectation for.
We do. I've been working more and more on, I've been working on SOPs for the last couple of years, and I've actually been working with Gemini, using that gem, like Craig was saying, and I've just built out a knowledge base. Somebody asked me a question, I answer the question, and I put it into like Gemini, like knowledge base. So the next time they ask me that question, I'm like, go ask it. I'll make a video on how to do it or whatever, how to set a filter, however to address that question. I try to address the question, and then I try to systemize it, and I try to put that answer into the knowledge base so that and then just give my team access to ask the bot these questions. Because an SOP would just, I don't know, a 3-ring binder, the thing would be the size, you know what I mean? Like how they're going to flip through the thing for days. But using AI and Gemini and custom gems has been a real game changer for me. But that's kind of only, I don't know, 3 or 4 months old. So it's not built yet. I wish I could just kind of exploit what's in my brain and just stick it in there, but I just can't. All of
Yeah,
us.
I've built that for a few uh, clients of mine, like an owner knowledge chatbot. All the
Yeah.
SOPs that you have in your business, all the sales, marketing material, your inbox email, we can feed that all to an AI, and it's called a RAG model AI. But basically, we can. I've made that happen for a lot of business owners. It's a really great tool, and I think you're totally right. Like that's the future. That's what's going to replace a binder. That would have been,
Yeah.
So absolutely, you're on the right path. And if you need help with that, reach out.
I appreciate it. But
I
that's
have
my
a
frustration.
I have a recommended word of caution. What you're doing and pursuing, we've talked about, and I think you're on the right track for where you are. I think some people can hear that information, process it differently. I was one of those where I went to such an extreme of trying to create processes and systems inside of my company that it was like I could hire anybody off the street, McDonald's style, and they could build the burger. To the point that I was neglecting to realize how special and amazing human beings are, and
Mm,
understanding the miracle that every one of my team members are, and letting
good.
them be able to operate autonomously themselves and make decisions. I was overshadowing them with the process and not inviting them enough to participate in building. And when I stopped doing that, the results have spoken for themselves.
It's good.
Yeah, I get it. There's definitely a balance between hiring the right people is like the big one right off the bat. Learning how to hire is a big one that I'm still going through. One of the other kind of guys that I deal with he did actually I think he did a call on like hiring and how to, his process. And I've been following his process the last couple hires, and it's worked really well. But that's where it kind of starts, is bringing the right people in and then training them with the information that you have, at least to a certain degree. And then just kind of being able to have enough confidence in them to kind of set them free to use the material that you have made available. And then they have to kind of come up with their own way, at least slightly. Otherwise, it just doesn't work at all.
For culture over competence is a hard thing to justify in the glass industry, where you want someone tenured and going to go, install a job immaculately. But I always hired for culture. The few times that I went for competence, some old heads, that they just they didn't operate within the model that we had as a team, and that was always something that burned me. So I'm very thankful to know that you've got a good hiring process. It's huge.
I wouldn't call it good. I would, I would call it a learning process. I would call it, still learning, but I'm on the right track anyway, put it that way. But yeah, I mean, we really don't even hire, and we don't even hire experienced like or veteran glazers or whatever, because they're going to do it their way. I don't care. I really don't give a shit. What way you show them, their way is always going to be better. They've been doing it that way forever, and they're just not going to kind of do it our way. And our way is the way that it needs to be done. So everybody can kind of learn them that way and whatever. There's always going to be small tweaks, but we actually just stopped doing that. So we hire
Good.
like you said, the culture and mechanical aptitude is kind of our bottom line. And then if you know how to use a drill and a screw gun and you're a nice guy, we can kind of train the rest, and it kind of falls into place. So that we've learned, but there's just still so much more. I'm actually in the process of like hiring a new office person, administrator. So I'm going to be starting this over again. But I've never hired for this position with kind of this new thing. So I'm back at learning.
Yeah, I was talking with someone in the breakout, Dennis, and he said, "Man, like I've had that issue of hiring the right people my first 2 years of operation, and I something that stuck with me. Gosh, it was if running your business is hard, you've hired the wrong people, and so the sooner that you can get the wrong people off the team and the right people on the team, your life as a business owner is going to change, and it's going to be." To the fact that Craig had, if you can empower and entrust those people to go out and crush it because they have the right culture, because they're going to build the brand alongside you, and from the franchise that I acquired when I got into the glass business, they actually had a really good staying. It's an axiom that'll probably stick with me for the rest of my life. But you don't build a business, you build people, and the people build the business. And man, I think that was just good wisdom. So
I think that's what I was trying to say a while ago is if you have the right people and no process, you can still have a business. I'm not saying neglect process, but you could still have a business and be successful. But if you have a great process and really terrible people, you don't have a business at all. Not anywhere close.
Amazon does it.
Yeah, that's true. Amazon's throwing boxes at doorsteps. They're not getting something custom to a 16th of an inch, my guy,
I know. But they can
with zero tolerance.
they can literally hire anybody, and they have such amazing and processes and automation and everything. And I'm sure at the higher corporate level, it's a much different story, which is kind of where we are. But they can hire anybody and just plug them into a spot, and in very minimal time, just have somebody just operating in Amazon. You know what I mean? In Amazon. So
Hey, why is that, Michael?
As long
they
as you
just
throw the box close enough to the door, they're okay.
yeah. Well, I mean, well, like the delivery. I mean, but I mean, that's it. Like that's the wrong culture, but they get away with it because the person still has the box. You know what I mean? But the culture is the guy that you want to care. Like the FedEx guy, most of them actually care. They go up, they place the box where it belongs. But Amazon can kind of get away with it because they're just like the McDonald's of whatever. You order it, it shows up, the person's happy. I don't know, you threw it over there, but whatever, it's here. But I'm more talking about just their processes in general because they leverage technology to the millionth degree. And then they just put people in very like systemized positions that it really almost doesn't matter their competency level at a huge amount of like their workforce. So I admire that because I like technology, I like the AI stuff, but I know we're kind of operating on different scales. And
It's kind of what Craig just said, that if you have the right people and you don't have processes, you can still have a business running proper. But that's kind of how it was 20 years ago, is that they had the proper guys that care about the business and just did their job. What I see a lot is lately with the younger generation, I don't want to put somebody on a stand or insult anybody, but with younger generation, it almost looks like they need the guidance and they need the processes to do their job proper. If I work with older guys, I just tell them what they need to do, and they get it done. If I work with younger people, then they have way more questions. They need way more explanation on how things run and how to do their work. And that's where you come into the processes to say, okay, here's a book or a binder or access to our processes. Follow those steps, and you can get your job done.
Yeah. People want process, whether they'll admit it or not. I agree. Young, old, people want process. So that's good, Dennis.
That was proven in the messaging we just talked about. People
Yeah.
want to be told what to do. Human
Yep.
nature is they want to be told what to do. Does anybody have questions in regards to the tools that we talked about, or additional insights on things we should be thinking about or looking at, do you think?
I had one. I didn't.
Yeah.
So you were talking about like conversions and the quality of the website and all that stuff. So what is more important, or are they the same? The website itself or the landing page? Because if you're running Google Ads or doing whatever and you are funneling your traffic, the first thing you want to do is get them to the landing page to get their information so you have something. You know what I mean? The landing page needs to be nice, informative, brief, and just able to collect their data. Beyond that, the website is going to take a little bit of effect, but then your sales team now has that information to kind of get all over the person. So, I mean, what do you think is more important? Or are they equally important?
That's actually the point or the observation that we're making, and why we put so much attention on this, is that there is no one size fits all. Each customer's interaction and path needs to be different. And we're trying to give them an opportunity to have a more curated path to the information they want in the way they want it.
Yes. So we have like, I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying we have about, I don't know, close to 500 5-star reviews between the 3 locations that you guys run for us. None of them, I don't think any of them, mention the website. They all mention, they don't even mention the shower door 90% of the time. They don't even mention the thing that we sell. What they mention is the customer service, the fact that they were able to text us, the fact, the technology, the transparency, whatever, the efficiency, and that's all built from technology. I've never had anybody write a review to be like, I was on their website and it looked great, so I bought, you know what I mean? It wasn't, that's not what, I don't feel like that's what sold them. Obviously, you don't want that.
I think that's part of my observation with, you can have a really pretty website that's a pretty pink pony website, because the objective of the website is to facilitate creating a conversation. And so it's actually undermining the effectiveness of what we're trying to accomplish if they're taking time out to say, oh, they had a really nice website, because it's a distraction from the objective. And from a recency bias perspective, if they're not crowing about how good it was to work with you and the people in the company, then there's something wrong in that sales process. So it's not to say that the things that we did not have an interactive push towards getting them where we needed them to, positioning them so they could be sold. I would say that I would be alarmed if we saw people leaving reviews about the website. That would be overshadowing and distracting.
Sucks.
I don't know if I answered the question, but that's what I'm seeing with what I heard.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the website is just another tool or another. It's something to make you look good. Like we should all have Facebook pages, Instagram pages, whatever. It shows that it shows that your business has a pulse. I feel like people that are going to buy from your company, they're going to look at all this stuff and they're going to do their own research. I mean, here in Boston, an average shower is like $2,200, $2,300. So, it's an expensive purchase. So they want to make sure that they're going to the right people. So we should all have a nice looking website, a Facebook feed that, isn't from the last post is 2024. It's just, people start wondering, these people even in business. So I feel like the website is important the same way that we don't want to be driving around a piece of shit beater truck, because who wants to buy a $3,000 shower door from a guy driving around a $3,000 van? You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. It's your image. I feel like the website goes more towards your image, same way that the truck and the uniforms you guys show up in and everything as far as that. But I don't feel like the website alone is not enough to sell a shower. It's too much of an
any
emotion.
one of these components by themselves is not enough, though. Like
Your
if you had the
sales team,
best
that's it.
sales team, no, even if you had the best sales team in the world, I take away your visibility, I take away your website, and I replace it with the Pretty Pink Pony one. They don't get the opportunity. It's all part of a circuit system. And that's why I pointed out the key levers and the order of operations we think in terms of what needs solved first. Your sales team is high on that list before I ever start dumping more traffic in.
Because out of everything that every day I go in, I try to find either the biggest problem or like the biggest thing that kind of needs working on, whether it's a process or whatever. The website we built, I don't know, years ago, and it's literally the last thing that's ever on my mind of like going to and touching or whatever. And we update the gallery every now and then. We update, I don't know. I know we post, you guys do the blog posts and all that stuff, but that's more for like SEO and stuff. But as far as like tweaking the website to make it better, I don't know. It's it's literally the last thing on my mind. And I don't know if that's right or wrong.
As far as, yeah, I'm
you
having camera issues.
Yeah, you would.
As far as yours in particular, knowing what your conversion rate is at, it's high. And I think it's high for a reason. And again, it's down to the structure, layout, and psychology of getting the person what they want to help them make a decision, which is partially based off of impression. That's why we push and promote the idea of like having imagery of your team and your offices and your showroom and all those things, because that gives and lends credibility to who you are and who they're going to be working with and the professionalism that's going to be there. Right. Versus a website that maybe showcases a guy that has, like you said, a $3,000 beater van. They're like, I don't know if I want to buy from this person, right? Having the resources like Buyer's Guide, we saw increasing conversion rates when we added that supplementally, because people then, short of calling you, some people don't want to call you and talk to you yet. My dad would be one of those. Like he was complaining the other night when I was telling him about what we're working on. He's like, I just want a freaking price. I don't want to talk to someone. They're going to sit and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm like, I know, I'm trying to get it where we can capture enough information that it warrants us giving them that information back, but we can still lead them into the process. Because if you call me on the phone tomorrow and you say, how much is marketing, aside from the fact that we're very transparent on our website, what we charge, and you say, how much is it going to cost me to market? My answer is, I don't know. Tell me more about what it is that you're trying to do and where you're at in your business. I don't know what your budget is right now based off your annual revenue. I don't know what target products you're wanting to sell. That's all going to change the outcomes and the expectations for them. And that's why you guys don't want to publish price either. What I'm suggesting is we can create an interactive experience where they will divulge enough information, we can get closer to that mark so that they don't have to call and talk to you if they don't want to. Or if they do, they can.
I get it. And I love it because you know me, I'm a tech guy. Is Rob still here? Does he take on? I love automation. I love tech. I love all that crap.
Yep.
But a shower door is an emotional purchase. They need to trust you. So if they just go on the website and they just get a price, there's literally zero trust built. They have exactly what they want. And that's it. You know what I mean? If they might not come back because you never got a chance to talk to them. They never got a chance to hear your voice. They never got a chance to hear the sincerity and that you know what you're talking about. They never, you know what I mean? They just got a price, and I don't know. They might get 3 more of this guys, whatever, and just go. That's not everybody, but a lot of people. You need to build the trust. So I feel like the website is a piece of the puzzle, but I don't know it could be doing it. I don't know what my website could be doing better to increase our conversion. I'd love to know because I'm always trying to increase conversion.
Customers don't always know what they want either, because when they call us, well, we need a window replaced. Yeah, okay. Do you want to have the glass replaced, or do you want the glass including the frame replaced? Well, we don't know. We just want to have the window replaced. So you can't catch that with just AI. You have to talk to people to inform them and teach them what they actually want.
Right, but you have to get them on the phone.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you actually have to talk to them,
but some
especially
people,
when
like
they
for
don't know
instance, they
what
don't
they
want
want.
to.
Because we get questions over Facebook, or questions over the website, or emails. That, well, can you give me a price to replace the window? And then you go there and you actually talk to them, and actually you find out that either they want to have the glass replaced or they want to have the window replaced.
I know, like I said, with Craig, when you had originally done that like AI thing, and it like put the hinges on the 90 door, it was all messed up, but it's coming a long way. And that could probably spit out a price, because I know the software that we use has, I don't know if Christina implemented it. I know some people talked about it, but the software that we use has like a web, whatever module or whatever that you can kind of plug in, that people can go on there and type in what they want, or at least what they think they want. And it'll spit back a price based on your database, right? I think I would honestly lose the majority of those customers, because they'd either be typing in the wrong thing and getting the wrong price, either too high or too low. And both in that scenario is bad, because now the expectations are wrong in both directions. That's why we just try to funnel everybody through scheduling a call, or like at least book a call or a showroom visit or whatever. I'd love to know what my website could be doing better to help improve that, because I just feel like that's the thing.
So
I would say I offered in my company a shower door visualizer, and the folks who reached out to me through my website, who had already taken the time to educate themselves and go through that process, converted much higher and for more. So because they were already okay, they've already now gone through the process of dreaming about what you said was emotional, and that's so true. So they've already gone through this process of dreaming up what their shower is going to be. They've already picked the hardware. They chose to go with a header. Wouldn't have done it myself, but that's what they chose. And so, I would say that having that, even if AI is kind of still catching up, is very forward thinking and is going to be a tremendous win to your website. But that's just my perspective,
No, I
having
mean,
been there and done that. So
no, I mean,
and
it's honestly an expensive option, and I don't mind spending the money. I'm glad to hear, because they tell you, look what we can do, look what we can do, and like, yeah, but seeing what technology can do, and then actually having it convert are two different things. So hearing the fact that you had success with it converting tips me in the direction that I may consider it.
what we're challenging is, how do we marry those two worlds? How do I get you in front of more people that are likely to buy from you? And how do I give them what they want and make it an interactive experience that we lead them closer and closer to? I think Morgan was asking about trying to remove the human connection. That is the last thing from what I'm after. I'm actually trying to get more people engaged to the point that we can have the opportunity to have the conversation. My objective in all the marketing we do is, how do I initiate the conversation? How do I get someone down to a point that they feel like they have the clarity, the education, the resources to make that next step, which is talking to your salespeople.
Yeah, you cannot sell a shower door over text with technology. You just can't, because I've tried it. I can automate we go over the stuff all the time. We can have bots talking to people back and forth until we're blue in the face, but it will not sell the shower door. There's no emotion there. There's no trust there. You have to talk to people. There has to be people.
Yep.
Well, and I would just say that I'm not saying that I think you're trying to remove the human connection. Guess my concern is when we get to that conversation on pricing, and you and Brittany know that I push back on even putting like a range out there, because it makes me anxious, because I feel like people don't always know what questions to ask. They don't know what they're buying. They've never, if they go to Lowe's and Home Depot and come to me and say this is what they're quoting me. Yeah, I'm not in the ballpark, because we're not talking about the same type of product. My concern is, and I don't know other people's markets, but one of the biggest issues that we are dealing with in our market is, I installed for Big Glass Shop. I can go out on my own. I buy my $3,000 van. I pick up my glass from the supplier. That's my competition. I have a storefront. I have all these other pieces. So my concern is, now I get my pricing from this website. Great, beautiful. These people are paying a lot of money for their website, and I take it to Chuck in a truck down the street and say, what can you do? Well, he's gonna give you a better price, because his overhead is different. His entire business model is different. The co-op people on this call have heard me talk about this before. So that's my concern is, click, click, click. Here's your price. Oh, great. I'll go find a better price. So for me, it's just always that question of, I want to talk to you so you can see, you can come to my showroom, you can hear that the people that work for us know what they're talking about. They've been doing this for 25, 30 years. Those are the pieces that I don't want to lose by making it too easy to get that information without being able to have that conversation. If you choose to go that route and we've had that conversation, then I didn't do my job, or someone in my office didn't do their job, or you were just shopping numbers anyway, and I can't control that. But I want to be able to have that conversation. So that's all I'm saying. I think it's cool. I'm the person who buys their glasses on, websites because I can see my face with the glasses on it. So I get it. I totally get it. It's just the idea that I don't want that to be the only way that someone's making that decision.
Two things to consider that I'm seeing, observing. I'm not making a statement that what you're saying is wrong, but things to consider. Trucking a truck, I don't think is going to have the wherewithal to even enter the conversation we get 6 months to a year down the road. As the traditional search that Google goes away and is replaced by Gemini, and it's trying to do this advanced matching and pairing, the people that have put that information, whether it's right in your face on the website or not, but in the database for it to read what your availability is, what your pricing is, what sets you apart, etc. The things that you would want to explain to a customer anyways to help generate why the value is there. Putting that information is what is going to make them present you to a customer. And Chuck in a Truck doesn't have that information on his website. He doesn't even show up. He only enters the conversation whenever they go hunting. And that's always your bottom feeder. You wouldn't want to work with them anyway, customer. They're the always bottom of the barrel person. So it doesn't matter. The other side of that is that, like I was saying, it's a give and take back and forth. The more information they're giving and you're collecting, we could absolutely toggle an option whether you show price. Maybe it's enter this and we'll have a price for you in 5 minutes. That's what GCS's clear advantage was when we went through COVID. Is we don't have to come to your home. We'll get you a price if you give us these quick few measurements and call you back. We can execute that with the same precision, and you know what they're expecting because you can also have the image shipped to your salesperson. And now you are picking up the phone with a lot more information and got an advantage to start that conversation with them. So there's different ways to slice and dice it. It doesn't have to be one size fits all, depending on what your comfort level is. And the other thing I want to point out is one of my asks from you guys is I dropped in the chat, join the Facebook group. I want this kind of feedback. And our first target is, again, to produce it for the shower doors. And I want to put this on a landing page dedicated to selling shower doors and put it in a closed loop environment of just ads so that we can measure, do a general split test of I send it to what we've been running to. I know what the conversion rate is. And at the same time, 50% of traffic is going to go to this other one. And we're going to measure whether it increases or not. And we're going to keep tuning the levers until we find what gives us the most opportunity to talk to people and close deals. If the data shows the opposite, then we got to throw that out, take the data for what it is, and change gears and pivot. I've just kind of planted my flag, drawn a line in the sand, what I'm aiming for. I'm trying to get your marketing budget to go further because we need it with that downward market pressure that we're experiencing.
Right. I honestly like your approach with the AI, as opposed to having to go through and design everything. Because one of the things we do is we ask the people when they come to us, do you have like an inspirational photo? Like what were you envisioning? Right. It's literally like the first question that we have. So at least we have a jumping off point that we're going to design them a slider and not a swinging door. You know what I mean? So sometimes we'll ask, like, do you have a picture of something that you like that you'd like to see here? So I like your idea because it actually starts it off with, you know what I mean, pretty much that, like some type of inspirational photo, and then move on from there into the discussion phase. That makes because I mean I compare it to like when girls go to the hairdresser they bring pictures. So like I like this haircut, or I want it to look like this, right? So that's why we ask for like what do you have in mind? What are you thinking? So we can either tell you we can do that, or like we can also do it this way. Give them their options, or maybe you can't do that because it just is not going to make sense here, and here's why. But this will. So I mean I like your idea with the AI because it already sets the boundaries for what's going to work and what's not going to work. And at least I feel like it gets them a little bit closer than if they are just in there clicking around trying to be a shower designer. But I guess we have to talk more.
Or we can get onto the weekend. It's completely up to you guys. I just made a promise I'd be here until you wanted to jet. I will re-encourage again that if you are considering selling your company, or you are considering that you'd like more freedom in the company that you're building, that Josh is the man, and I did bend his arm, and the discount only lasts through the end of this call. You can get it at glassmarketingblueprint.com/freedom. It's $500 one time, save you $2,500 on that. And I think it'd be well worth every penny.
Yeah, it's fun of $500 US.
Oh, you're up in Canada, aren't you? Sorry, man.
That's okay.
Anyway, anybody else got anything? Has everybody had an opportunity to find the link for the Facebook group if you're willing to join us in there? be an opportunity to get first notice for when we have these on a regular basis. We're planning to every month or every other month have a call just like this, showcase what we're working on, the progress that we're making, opportunity to be beta testers on the solutions we're building. And I think no big memorable thing. Things that last the test of time are created by an individual person. It's through community. And I'm proud to have the involvement that we do in your guys' community, and like to invite you to come spend time in ours and help us drive forward. Like I said, the glass industry has been behind in technology. And I'd like to help shape that, becoming, you guys are leaders as opposed to stealing other people's ideas all the time.
I think the glass industry is not only behind on technology. If you see, there's a construction association, there's a plumbers association, there's all kinds of things that people can talk to each other. I think in the glazing industry, there's not a whole lot of people or groups you can actually join the, hey, what is frustrating for you? Where did you walk into a wall and how did you figure that out? And I think it would be awesome to have a glazing association that people can join and say, hey, these were my struggles from last month. And did anybody had those struggles and how did you fix them? Or even if you can, like what we're doing right now, once a month, just have a Zoom meeting. And people just talk to each other.
Oh, this sounds wicked familiar.
You're more than welcome.
Someone else do
You're
it.
more than welcome to let him know.
Dennis,
Go
we should chat. We have a shower door professionals co-op. It's specifically geared towards
Just described it.
sorry?
He just described it.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's a group of vetted professionals who get together and chat once or twice a month, and it's awesome. It's a lot of the people on this call. Mike Merlina's in it. Rob Gomez is an advisor on the board. Morgan Miller's in it. Brian Shoemaker's in it. So I'm sorry, I don't know who else is on this call, but Barrent, the
Facebook
Patrick.
group and your link to your guys' website, and you have full endorsement of Elite Results Marketing's team towards the co-op.
Thanks, Craig. You have our full endorsement too.
Dennis, you usually go to the glass shows? I don't know if Canada has like separate glass shows or you come down here.
I actually went to one of the shows there in Texas a couple months ago. But the only thing is, unfortunately, we don't do shower glass. The only reason for that is I haven't found the right people yet that actually like doing it. Last year, in Red Deer, there's a guy, he's called Shower Door Guy, and he retired, and we actually talked to him to take over his business and his clientele. And I hired 2 installers, signed contracts and all that stuff. And on the day they're supposed to start, they never showed up and ghosted me. So after that, we concentrate on windows, commercial glass, shield units, automotive glass, so basically anything except for shower door glass. If I had the right installers, I would love to, because there's a lot of demand for it in our area. So
Talk to Josh, fix your hiring process, or put together an attraction funnel to get the right people, and let's boot you up. And then join the co-op. Ready made.
Ew, higher margin.
would love to.
Well, you can chat with us anyway sometime, Dennis. We're happy to help. All right. I do have to go. It's late here, so I'll talk to you guys later. But Craig, this was wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
You bet. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for seeing.
Unless anybody has anything else, we'll give it a going once, going twice. And if not, then we'll call it a wrap. Thank you all for being here. It's crazy to think that it's this late in the evening and you guys are all still with me. So as Josh said, it means you're killers. It means that you do care about the year coming. And I wish you all the success in the world. The people that are already interacting with us, we'll see you soon. We'll be engaging in more conversations on this. Everybody's welcome to join that Facebook group. And again, I'm thankful that you guys joined us tonight, and hopefully you got something good out of it.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Joshua.
Catch you guys
Guys, thanks,
Have a good
guys. It
weekend.
was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.